and we are live. You can catch us on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, and Facebook. And guess what? We are now on X as well. Thanks, JV Media, for getting us on. St. John Vernice, appreciate that. It's our first time on X Live. I'm so hyped that we are on X Live. So, yeah, we'll be right back with you, Howler. Be right back. What's going on? Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas, HOB Dad Academy in the house today. We got Jeff over here, Hamilton. What's going on, Jeff?
What's up, Jacob? Hey, HOB audience, good to see you guys, and great to be back out here in Fontucky.
Fontucky, 2-hour drive.
Bro, you guys are like trying to keep the OC people out of the IE. I guess that's what it is, man.
Oh, man.
No, it was a battle today to get out here, but man, always like this is like the most worth it trip. I
appreciate that.
All of our conversations, like I don't want to spend too much time. Like you and I could just like kick it for like ever, right? Just so much stuff just to catch up on and stuff like this. But like for the audience, like bro, the HOB audience has really like grabbed onto some of this dad stuff, right? Like we're really starting to see two things. One, the impact of not having a dad in your life, and people are starting to realize maybe some of the holes and challenges that they're facing in their life, and because of that. But we're also seeing like a lot of guys, like just the guest the other day was talking about like the most important thing in my life. This dude's a gangbanger rapper, right? Hardcore dude. Yeah. And he's like, no, the most important thing in my life is being a dad to my kids.
He doesn't know how to be. And shout out to the Goon Problem. What's going on, man? You're probably watching.
Bro,
I talked to him.
So.
He's talking about wanting to come on one of the Dad Academies.
Bro, let's do this, right? Because that is like as we were talking about, like there's a whole plan. I'm really grateful. Because, you know, in this world of social media, right, like it's all about your thing, right? And yet the best leaders and the best, most successful organizations are one that think about the user. So however I can get the best information to my audience that really brings value to them, those are the organizations that thrive over the long term, right?
And I also think the best is through your experience,
for sure,
and like how you learning to be a dad, and we're figuring out better ways to be fathers now than when we were kids and how we were raised.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I think there's just a greater awareness of this. But going back to this though, I just compliment you and the HOB team because like it would be very easy just to do whatever it takes to get an audience. But once you've gathered a crowd, what do you do with them?
Yeah.
And if you keep bringing value to them and you keep speaking to their issues and teaching and grabbing their heart, what kind of starts as kind of a fun thing that we did as a hobby now starts to start really making differences in individuals' lives, in like providing them with this kind of thing. And so I just, for the audience to know, in fact, like right now we got like a few dozen people watching on Facebook, and we got YouTube Live, X Live tonight for the first time. So
I love that.
Pretty sick, right?
Yeah.
Like just how you guys have been expanding the reach of your social media, the fact that you're willing to take something like this, and you find value in what I'm able to bring, because I want to bring value to you, to the HOB audience. And I think that kind of collaboration is going to be the definition of success for organizations going forward. It's not just your stuff. there's no way that one guy can know everything.
Yeah, no.
Right. And so when we start to develop a culture of collaboration and coming alongside each other, and I'm going to promote you and you promote me, and like let's get the best information to our people. Man, there's no way that anything can stop this.
Yeah, and I think dads need to be more dads than ever right now. The way everything's going, and I just think it's huge right now.
Why do you think it's huge? Why do you think, like, and really, if I can talk to the audience who's watching, we're watching the feed. We've got we're watching comments, YouTube Live. We're watching. Want to watch the comments that are coming up. In fact, I'll log over to YouTube so we can see them as they come up.
Yeah, right here too.
We want you to. Yeah, we want you to be. I don't like that view, man. It makes me look like I'm losing my hair. What's that big old forehead? I need to make sure to wear a hat next time. You're getting, John, you getting glare in there off of these lights? Jeez, what happened? Who's the old guy there? Yeah. We want to make this like interactive, because in the long run, like we're hoping to do like Dad Academy once a month. We're going to create some content specifically for the HOB audience of some things that you can be involved with
I like
to
that.
be involved.
We got some new stuff going on with the screen.
Oh, the
too,
split screen. Yeah,
split
so
screen, yeah.
And so we'll talk about a lot. If you want to stay in track and kind of track with us at Dad Academy, you can simply go to dad.academy. You don't have to go to .com or anything. Dad.academy. If you want to go ahead and take the next level, /subscribe. We send out a dope newsletter every week just to encourage dads, create conversations. We're telling live dad stories. This week, man, it was about a dad whose dad took his son and escaped from communist Vietnam and landed here in Westminster in the late 70s.
Oh, wow.
That son grew up to become a doctor and figured out that he knew how to really work hard, because that's what his immigrant dad taught him to do, to be a success, but he was not connecting with his Orange County kids. And he took Dad Academy, and it was a game changer for him. But he tells his story about, like, he remembers being 5 years old and being, like, put in a boat to escape a country, right? These are the kind of stories that are getting shared as guys start to tell their fatherhood story, man.
It'd be good to bring him on too.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys like that. I mean, the majority. It sounds so funny. So many of the stories start like, I grew up in a home without a dad. Like, I would say that 70% of even the dad stories, and the dad stories haven't even gone like out beyond my personal relationships yet. And so many of those stories begin with just kind of that whole. So let me ask you this: like, you're a dad of young kids. My kids are grown, right? That's why I don't consider myself a dad influencer. I'm not like the dude that's gonna show like, let's go to Legoland and be sponsored, and here's my beach picnic. I'm a mentor. I'm a dad mentor, right? I want you shared a little bit about. Well, why don't you, in our last episode, you shared a little bit about your story, and without embarrassing your pops, we know him now, like, what a great dude. In fact, he's been preaching at church for the last 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And so.
How do you know that? Because Dennis, Pastor Dennis.
That's right.
Yeah.
He's in there because, your dad's pastor, who is the men's ministry at his church, like, he had a pretty serious bike accident, like riding his bike. And I was checking in on him today. So your dad's good now. You and him are good now.
Yeah.
But tell us about your dad's story, about growing up. It was some pretty hairy stuff you were talking about when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about your journey as a dad now. I think it'd be great for some of the viewers to get to hear a little bit of your story.
Okay, yeah. I haven't talked about this really either, so that's good. So my parents got a divorce when I was young. I always thought I was really young where I couldn't remember, but me and my brother believe we blocked a lot of things out because there was a lot of trauma that was probably going on in our minds, and we just blocked a lot of things out. We have like moments of memories, but it was very hard, right? So what I do remember is my parents never being together. But there's like times I remember of like my dad using us like pretend like we're guns, and he would shoot my brother, and we'd fall on the ground. And I guess they were together at the time, and we'd be hiding, playing hide and seek and things like that.
Like normal,
right?
Normal dad stuff.
Yeah, and then
which this is let me. I don't want to sidetrack too much, but like, so dads, like, you're like, what do you mean your dad would pick you up as a 3-year-old and you use him like a gun against you?
Yeah.
Like, hey, bro, that might be a little too real life for out here. Yeah, woo, woo, all lights flashing. That do you realize that kind of rough play from a dad is one of the things that helps teach boys how to self-regulate their emotions?
I didn't know that.
A lot. These are some of the studies that are out.
How
right?
so? Explain.
Okay,
that.
so you know that you can't beat your dad.
Yeah.
Right, when you're little, right? But it's like a lion cub, right? You want to wrestle, you want to test, you want to see how strong you are, right? I have a brother that's 18 months younger than me, and we shared a room. We were roommates. So most of our lives, we shared a room. So you can't put two boys in a room without there being like boxing gloves and just
right off
getting
the bat.
after it, right?
Yeah.
WWE and dropping elbows and stuff like this. And then my dad always used to say, playing around always gets somebody mad or hurt.
Yeah.
But when we would gang up on our dad, right, stuff like this, we could be as aggressive as we wanted, but then he would help us bring that aggression in, right? Let us know what type of activity was appropriate and what wasn't appropriate, right? Like, hey, you can punch your brother in the arm, you can't punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Right? There's little like things that you don't really
think about.
Think about. Like, my wife used to go crazy with me. Like, I was stupid young dad, right? I'd throw my kids up in the air and catch them and stuff like this.
Yeah, I do that too.
There's actually a study that says kids whose dads get played with, kids who their dad plays with them like that and like throws them up in, they have better hearing and they have better balance and they don't get car sick.
Oh,
because when they're weightless,
you hear that, Mom?
When they're right,
my mom used to tell me, "You're gonna brain damage them." She'd get mad at me and all this stuff.
And they actually show that being weightless like that helps a child when they're so play with a dad is one of the most important things that begins to happen, because it teaches especially young men what appropriate aggression looks like, how to control your emotions, right? Because my brother and I, we would duke it out a little bit, and then somebody would always take it a little too far. Somebody would end up crying, and then anger sets in, right? And then it was on. For example, when my brother and I were messing around, then my dad would be like, when it was just too much for him to handle, he'd be like, "Go get the gloves." We're like 8 years old, and we got like 20 ounce, boxing gloves. You can barely.
Yeah.
Right. So then it starts out kind of fun, right? Like punch, and then somebody like
gets
hurt.
Yeah.
And then the next person is like, boom, and then it's on, right?
Yeah.
And right then, as soon as the anger started, my dad would grab us. He'd grab us by the back of the neck. He goes, "Listen, you only have your brother for the rest of your life. Brothers stick together." And then he would make us give each other a kiss on the cheek and hug each other.
Yeah.
And we had to learn how to go from that rage and that aggression to polite and considerate and aware of others in our environment. Mom's not going to do that, right? She's going to send you to your room, and then it just goes on behind the closed door.
What a lot of the time, too, the mom doesn't even want you roughhousing.
Right.
It's the dad that's your roughhousing.
Right. But there's very important skills, especially young men learn. They learn how to regulate your emotions. So I'm glad that you had those kind of experiences little, because life wasn't always like that for you, especially once they split, right?
Yeah. So what I remember is I grew up in a meth house. So my dad was really into heavy drugs. I was living with my mom, and somehow I don't got to get it too far in this story, but I was living with my mom. I ended up moving to my dad's. Ended up living with my dad in elementary school. I want to say around like third, fourth grade, and they were like heavy into drugs. So my whole experience was just fear all the time. It's like I lived in fear. I slept in fear. I was scared a lot. I was alone a lot. My brother couldn't last long there. My brother ended up, we both moved there. My brother ended up moving back 4 months later. I almost feel like I was abandoning my dad. Like I'd betray him to leave.
Isn't it interesting how even as little kids you start to take on that stuff? You don't even realize that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Right? But now all of a sudden, like when does a kid start to feel responsible for his parent?
Yeah.
It should never be that way. Right? But it's amazing how quickly children adapt to those environments.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it shapes them permanently because you think about how your brain is developing. Like, not to make a joke, but we know that like a man's brain isn't fully formed till he's 25 years old. I hope that wasn't somebody's wife. That was like dropping a bomb right there. Like that's been proven through neurology that a man's brain is not fully formed till 25 years old. So the experiences that you have as a child are some of the most significant ones that form your worldview or your perspective. So this idea of, now I'm responsible for my dad. I can't leave him alone. I've got to be able to take care of these things. Imagine how significant that is for an 8-year-old.
Yeah. I think what was going on was they made he I mean, I love my dad. I'm just saying stuff that I'm saying now.
This was back in the
back
day.
in the
He's
day.
not that dude
No,
anymore.
not at all.
Yeah.
So I think that what I was thinking is something was over me where he or myself would make me think that me leaving, I'm betraying him. Like, you better not leave because that's an act of betrayal, So I had that in my mind, and my mom knew that as I was a kid. And I just stuck it out, and I lived like that. And don't get me wrong, I wanted to move out and move back with my mom, but I always felt like I was betraying him. But
was there pressure from your mom to move back home?
No, she would just ask me like, "Why are you bruised? Why are you hurt? Why are you this?" I was getting beat,
Sure.
If I messed up on something, I got beat up for it, But it's like, and he doesn't really remember that. Because of the heavy drugs,
Right.
But if I and the thing is I felt like I was stronger for that. Because we didn't have a lot of food in the house. It's just a lot was going on, right? But I ended up at some point it got really bad where I just couldn't stand being there anymore. And
how old were you?
I was in junior high. I think
Yeah.
I was in 8th grade, and my mom was like, "Why are you so afraid of your dad?" And I had her pick me up because I was being bad. I was bad. So I'd go to school and beat everybody up. I just had probably a lot of anger and hate in me. So if anybody messed with me, I wouldn't start fights. But if anybody messed with me, I just like knocked teeth out. It was just like that.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening
Which is another weird side comment. Like, thank God we grew up in an era where things were finished with fists.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is it to think right now that, like, we would never think of, like, taking a gun to school, even if it was available to us. There's just no way. Maybe once guys hit older and they're in not just a
High
gang
school
life,
or
but
something,
criminal,
yeah.
like there's criminal activity that's involved.
Yeah.
But like in junior high, like that was one of the ways that you would test, like, where am I at on the scale?
Yeah.
Right. And now you have a confrontation with somebody. And this is why it's so scary for kids too, right? You have a confrontation with somebody and somebody's going to pull a weapon. They're not just going to beat you up. They want to talk about taking your life.
Yeah.
Bro, crazy.
Well, the thing too, I think as a kid, and just thinking about this now, is I would go back and forth to different schools. Like I'd go to like a rich neighborhood school and I'd go back to a ghetto school. So just when I was getting used to like a certain lifestyle, I'd go back to another school. So I felt like as a kid, I had nobody to talk to about that. So
Yeah.
I'm just fighting and doing everything I can and to like survive in school, really, with all the pressure going on of the divorce and the drugs at home and just the crappy life, feeling like, right? So what ended up happening is at some point it just got too crazy. My mom was like worried about me because I told her to pick me up because I got suspended for getting in a fight in 8th grade, and I like, pick me up. My dad's gonna beat the crap out of me. He said if I get in one more fight, I'm done. And she's like, what the heck's going on? So she started questioning me, and I didn't know what she was doing. I just thought, I told her I thought getting beat up was normal. I really did.
Right.
I thought getting beat was when you're bad, you get beat. That's just the way it is. There was no if or buts. I had no clue, and she was like, no, you that should not be happening. I'm taking you away. So she went to court. They went to court. Literally had to go through a whole court process. She just said, I'm not going back. She had me write my dad a letter, and I was like confused, like, I'm not supposed to get beat? Like, what do you mean that's wrong? I didn't realize the situation, you know? And then I wrote a letter, had to go to court, talk to the judge, all that stuff. She ended up taking me. But I was a wild man, like a wild kid. Like, by the time I got back to my mom, living in a meth house, living on the street all the time.
Alone, like, responsible for your own self all the time, yeah.
I went to school, and I just became crazy. Like, nobody could control me. Like, my stepdad couldn't control me. Nobody could. I was just out of control. I would go beat everybody up in school that messed with me. I had gangsters coming to the house, literally trying to shoot me, kill me. Like, it was just getting that bad. So I stayed with my mom. My dad moved to Utah. I ended up talking to my mom, and I was like, my mom was having dreams of me in coffins and stuff. She's like, people are literally out to get you. So she was like, yeah, I think it's, well, she didn't say this to me. Like, a lot happened. People came to my house with guns, trying to kill me, all this stuff. So I just told my mom, I said, you know what? I'm too out of control. I knew what I was. I'm like a dog off the leash without my dad. At least my dad put fear in me to calm down. So, and my dad was doing better. I was talking to him on the phone, and he was doing better in Utah.
Real quick, it's interesting because even the Bible talks about that this is the choice, that we're either going to be ruled in our lives by fear or by love. Mm-hmm. Right? And so fear is always an oppression tactic, right? And so, but love is very hard to really wrap our arms around, like, especially in our culture where we live. I think we talked about this on the last pod, where our worth is tied up into what we produce. So your value, you kind of like are buying love with what you're able to produce, but it's not really love, is it? Right? It's an exchange. It's and love has to come. I don't like to say without conditions, because there are times when we feel like we forfeited the right to be loved. Yeah. But it does need to come with a sense of security, and that no matter kind of what happens, right, that somebody's committed, that somebody is present, that somebody is invested. Those are the kind of things that are the words that describe love. And parenting does tend to fall not just in those two categories, but sometimes we go back and forth, right? Yeah. We kind of intimidate our kids a little bit, mm-hmm. or we make them be people pleasers, but yet there's also some moments of real, genuine, authentic, like, you have no idea how much you mean to me. Yeah. And just hearing your experience as a kid, and there's probably lots of people, online who are listening or who will be listening, who, while they may not have grown up in a meth house, right, with all of the other activity that goes along with it, they will know what that feels like emotionally. Mm-hmm. To feel abandoned, to feel on your own, to feel responsible for everybody else, and nobody looking out for you. Mm-hmm. Man, that happens no matter what the socioeconomic level is. That happens no matter what the ethnic background is. That is just kind of the fault, brokenness that sometimes happens in individuals' lives, and the impact that it has on the generations that follow.
Yeah.
So it's probably some of that, don't you think? That history that says, man, I want to be different for my kids.
Yeah, you're right on target. So like, I remember being so I was too out of control for my mom, and I felt like I feel like I was a burden for both sides.
Sure.
So at home with my dad, I feel like, well, he doesn't really like me because he hits me or he doesn't talk to me, whatever the case is. And my mom, I'm just too much for her. So I always felt like I am like I'm a burden, you know. But at the same time, they did both teach me and talk to me about God. So even though I would be thinking, I gotta say this word because I can't say certain words on YouTube,
right?
But even though I thought of, hey, I just don't want to. I want to just unalive myself. I don't want to be here because nobody wants me here anyways. It'd be better if I wasn't here because I wouldn't be a burden for either one of them. And then I felt like I would be like, okay, my brother, I'm responsible for him. So that was one reason why I didn't want to do it, because I was like, okay, my brother needs me.
Now, isn't it funny how like you transferred? My dad needs me to look out after him.
Oh yeah.
And it's again, and now my brother needs me. So we develop an identity that our worth and our value is based in other people being dependent on me to be present.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? When that's not a bad thing, right? I think that's actually one of the greatest demonstrations of love is always being present. But it's the reason or the programming behind that.
Yeah.
Because again, if I'm not there for my dad, ding, fear.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Oh, what's going to happen to my brother? I better be there. Ding, fear.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't.
It was always fear. So thinking about that, yeah, it was always fear. And I used to think too, I was like, I remember
not afraid. Like there's a difference between being like scared or afraid. No, like this fear.
Yeah.
It's tied to a sense of failure. It's tied to a sense of shame in the relationship. Like fear is a pretty significant issue for so many people because it's attached to shame.
Yeah.
And it's interesting already. And again, there's probably viewers who can identify some of these things in their life that really comes from unhealthy source relationships with your parents.
Yeah.
Right? And we carry those things in, right? Because now I got to be successful because I don't want to be poor or indigent or dependent on somebody.
Yeah.
Is that love motivated or fear motivated?
Fear a lot of the
fear
time.
Motivated, right? So now we start to see how this thing cycles through our entire life.
Yeah.
And
it makes a lot of sense.
The only way that we can begin to change it, and this is not like pop psychology, right? This is just somebody telling their story. I'm not trying to diagnose anybody, but I've worked with so many men over the course of their lives, that those things are real in our life, and they shape our approach. I can't tell you how many parents I know who are overprotective of their kids, not from love,
and that's the same thing,
but
almost.
From fear.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
It's just as bad.
And there's nothing healthy that comes from fear, a fear culture, a shame culture, a prove yourself, a validate yourself culture.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's one of the reasons why I wonder if in this generation, why so many kids struggle with this sense of, I mean, the things that you're dealing with. I mean, if you grew up in this time, we would just say that you have all these mental health issues.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like kids today don't even understand what mental health issues are.
Yeah.
Not to downplay their experience, but to think that you're the only one that's ever been through this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, all of us.
Well, the funny thing is, I've never even told anybody what I just said right now. Not anybody. I've never told anybody
Why?
that.
Why?
To me, it's I don't like giving all my cards. That's one reason, but mostly it's shame. You don't want to talk about this stuff.
And fear, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are people going to think? Am I going to be rejected? See, we don't even realize how our family of origin shapes us even into our adulthood.
Yeah.
Right? And so then what happens is we definitely know we want to be something other for our own kids.
Yeah.
But even in that desire, I don't want to be my dad. Is that from love or is that from fear?
Fear.
Right? So, how do we take that good motivation? How do we take that desire to be the best that we can be, and not have it be motivated by fear, but have it be motivated to create an environment for our children to become who God's designed them to be, and He's invited me to help them in that process.
Yeah.
So we have so many guys. I don't know one dad that is like, oh man, I just want to be the crappiest dad that I can be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, just saying that is my dad had a really bad, tough life. So he thought he was like 100 times better dad than what he got brought up as. So he was like, oh, you didn't have it tough. But now he knows off of drugs and everything. He knows everything he did. He regrets it so bad.
Oh, for sure.
Talks about it all the time, how much he regrets it. But my whole thing was when I was growing up like that, I literally remember so many times, especially being in junior high, being like, I am never going to treat my kids like this ever. I make it up. I kept saying, I promise I will never go talk to God in the room by myself, things like that. And I would always say that. And that's how my relationship with my kids are so different. Like I everything is with love. Everything I do for them, they get punished, and everything I tell them why they're punished.
Right.
Everything is just completely different.
Okay, so somebody made a comment here. No remorse, 951. Confused.
What's up, cuz? How you doing?
Confused. What is right and what is wrong comes with fear. Do me a favor. Jump back into that comment and unpack that a little bit more for me, because we want to be able to give you a good response. Because again, if somebody has a question, right?
Yeah,
they're not the only one. Those kind of questions are gonna come.
Oh, there
so, okay. I honor you. No remorse. The fear made me a man, self-made with experience of life. I honor that. You know why? Because that's how most men think about their lives. Okay? I'm not dogging anybody. But like we're gonna have some real talk here as well.
I would love to have been brought up with no fear like that.
Well,
fear is out. You have enough fear outside. You don't need that kind of fear. Healthy fear. I believe in healthy fear.
Yeah, a reverence, a respect, an understanding. But in order to live with that, you have to understand consequences, right? You have to understand outcomes.
Yeah.
You have to be able to project, if I do this, is this going to produce the result that I want? And so I want to go back and honor. Is it really your cousin?
He's my cousin. He actually he had a tougher life than I did.
Bro.
So shout out to my cousin, no remorse.
So bro, I would love to carry on this conversation, because you know me well enough. When we sat with Ambishun, in our last session, this is a shame-free environment. It's also a judgment-free environment, right? I'm not high and mighty. I'm not trying to diagnose everybody. But, bro, I want to see men healthy.
Yeah.
I want to see guys process some of this. So if I can, respectfully to your cousin, there is a certain level of fear that is appropriate, right? Like when my kids were little, I wanted them to have a healthy respect, a fear of traffic. I didn't want them just running out into the street, right?
Yeah.
They had to learn where their boundaries are. They had to learn but the motivation that tends to happen from neglect is, well, I don't want to be hungry again. I don't want to be homeless again. I don't want to be whatever are the deficits that we've experienced in our life.
Yeah.
And just because they are a good motivation, right? Nothing motivates you more than fear, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna guys who have been crappy husbands for years, all of a sudden now their wife says they want a divorce. Now they're afraid. Oh, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Right? You'll make whatever change you need to make for the short term just to get back to the way that things were.
Yeah.
Fear can be a motivation, but when that becomes our only source of energy, if it becomes our only fuel for life, how then do we bring health into the people that have been entrusted to us? I think a lot of folks who, like your cousin and like yourself, in desiring to be a dad, we try to remove all barriers for our kids, right? And overcompensate for that. And we never teach them things like respect, things like boundaries, things like consequences, outcomes. But I can tell you, like, I can always point to a dude who has had fear embedded into his mental and emotional and spiritual DNA. Because oftentimes, outside of a very small circle of trusted people who really know his story, we are always having to prove ourselves to people, or we're looking for validation from others, because we never know when we've actually arrived and when we've actually made it.
Yeah.
See, the biggest thing that I want to say to your cousin, bro, if nobody's ever said it to you in your life, I'm proud of you. I'm proud that you've made something of your life. I'm proud that you put in the hard work, because God has designed men to do hard work. He hasn't designed us not to be able to carry a load. Okay? That's being a man. But so many of us carry an extra load, an extra burden, because we live that fear is always speaking right behind our head, right? Always in our head, always a voice. And somehow we're still looking for validation in some way. My car, my vacations, my hot wife, my whatever other things, right? And we don't even realize how much control fear exerts in our lives. And it gets so programmed in, like it did for you, at such an early age.
For him too, way worse than me.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, bro. Agreed. It took me a long time to realize these things. And that I think one of the first steps to really becoming a man, and now being equipped to be able to take on the responsibility of the care of people that are under your covering, is realizing the shortcomings and the handicaps that we have.
Yeah.
And finding a new way to approach our lives, and it's a journey, right? We don't learn everything in one day. It's a little bit of trial and error. But trying to deprogram ourselves is like one of the hardest things. Like, think about people who are on a sobriety journey, right? There's a whole set of programs. I used to always grab a drink when this happened. Smoking's probably even a better environment, right? I had one after breakfast. I have one at break. I have one with my lunch. I have one at my afternoon break. At dinner, right before I go to bed, I like to have one. It calms my nerve, right? You don't even realize how integrated those things become into your system, and how they kind of become this not just a crutch. It becomes part of your identity.
Dang.
Because you're like, well, what do I do if I can't do this?
Yeah.
So I think we're learning, and your cousin, you, me, still are learning how to overcome the programming of our lives that was unhealthy, because we don't want to pass that down. Like, like one quick thing, and then we'll take whatever topic. Like, how is generational or the wealthiest people in America prior to the .com boom, right? Prior to all of the media and online and where now it seems like everybody somehow is becoming a billionaire.
Yeah.
But beforehand, wealth in America and wealth around the world was passed down generationally, right? So each person stewarded whatever was the seed, right? And they increased it and added to it and passed it down to their kids. Even our financial institutions, the way that America works, is meant to facilitate generational wealth, right? And it should just get bigger over time if some generation doesn't squander it. So don't just think of wealth, think of culture. We pass down generational culture. Some of that culture is like the Bible calls it cursed, meaning that like whatever tries to happen that comes from the seed, it's never going to produce fruit. And there's other parts that the scripture calls blessed. And blessed isn't lucky, right? Like I hate when the people in the church be like, oh, I'm so blessed. What do you mean look at my new car, I'm so blessed. What do you mean? You got a $500 a month payment. I don't call that blessed, right? Like it's not lucky. Blessed is I have found the right way to navigate my life through its ups and downs because I have a foundation in my life that is stable and that I can depend on. And that like blessed is I have the skills that are necessary. I've acquired the skills that are necessary to be able to navigate life in a way that not only benefits me, but benefits every person that I'm connected with. That's what blessed is. And I think we want to pass on, not curse to our children. Nothing you try will ever be successful. Nobody in your family's ever been successful. What do you mean? You've always had a rage anger. You've always had an anger problem, right? I don't expect anything else from you. Bro, like those kind of seeds go deep in, especially in a child's life. Yeah. And that's why I think like a dad is so important. I don't want to get too like graphic for our audience, but think about how children are made, right? A woman houses an egg, right? One egg. And if that egg isn't fertilized, right, it's discarded, right? Natural cycle, right? It sits there for a while, waiting to be fertilized. If it's not fertilized, it's discarded. Now, it has the potential, but it needs the seed. And during a man and a woman's intimacy, it's the man who's the life giver. And it's funny, one egg, 1,000,000 sperm, right? And we don't know which one of those things is going to actually take root and bring life, because that egg doesn't come magically alive without a seed. And I think that that's a description of the way that God has designed moms and dads to function. Mom is the nurturer. She's the host. She's the caregiver. But man, dad is the life giver. And whatever dad gives his attention to is going to produce life in his kids, even if it's producing fear in you, right? He seeded fear. And it took life into your life, into your cousin's life, into so many people. Abuse, bad self-image because dad tells you never measure up to anything. Dad speaks life. Like whatever dad gives his attention to is going to have life to it. And so that's just the way that nature works. And so we see that happening. That's one of the principles in Dad Academy is that dads have to be healthy. Because you don't want to pass on your emotional disease, your spiritual disease, your mental dis-ease to your kids. You want to bring life into them.
That is great information. Like great information. It's like things that it's like it's in your head, but you're not blueprinting it out that way.
Right.
It needs to be blueprinted. It needs to, and so you can execute it the right way. But if you don't put it in your head that like the information the way you just gave it, men are not going to understand how to get it done. It's hard enough to get the information the right way, like how you explained it.
Right.
But then being able to blueprint it and execute it right.
Okay, so think about the execution then. Let's go back to conception as a model of parenting, okay? Because that's how life comes to being in the first place. A woman has one egg. What do they say in a normal? I don't even know how to phrase this so that we don't get buzzed on these things, but it's over a million spermatozoa that gets released. Like a million. And how do we know which one of those little things is going to be the one?
Yeah.
And so that's also a picture for dad. You don't know which one of the minutes that you're investing into your kids is going to be the thing that all of a sudden sparks life in them. But you have to, like, thankfully, men like making babies. And so we're just willing to keep trying, right? Man, when it comes to your kids and bringing life out of them, you just got to keep being present. You got to keep investing. You got to keep seeding. You don't know which one of those moments is going to be the thing that opens up your kids' entire life, their entire future. Yeah. And so dad, like it's true in conception. It's not quality or quantity. It is quality and quantity of seed that brings life into our kids. And listen, man, I was not a perfect dad by any means. I mean, being a dad's the hardest thing that a guy will do. But unlike being a husband, you know, I coach baseball, right? Baseball, you can get a hit 3 times out of 10 and make billions of dollars, right? Mm-hmm. I go to my wife. I try to hit 300 with my wife. That's totally unacceptable. She wants me to be perfect, right? Make sure I execute all the time. But you know what? Seriously, with your kids, you can bat 300 and be an all-star dad. Because it's about getting up to the plate all the time. It's about making sure that you're taking good at bats, that you understand what kind of pitches you can hit and which ones you got to let go, where your weak spots are and where they're not. There's so many athletic kind of metaphors for this, but when we start to think about that, then you don't know, like taking your kids to school is one of those moments where, man, this could be the moment where some life comes in. When our kid brings home the report card, when our kid performs in some school play, when they're out on the soccer field, when they're cuddled up in your lap watching Elf over the holidays. Man, those are the things that bring life to our kids. Well, that's right, Uncle John. This is a family show because you got Uncle John on here too now. Like
What's up, Uncle John?
It's totally breaking the cycle. Right? We do a lot. Let's rock on Camp Agape. Let's rock on breaking the cycle. Your uncle John Vallejo and I, he literally is a brother to me. Because interestingly enough, it's not just to your kids. You know who's one of the biggest people who speak life into me is John Vallejo. You inviting me into this show brings life to me because it says that, man, Jeff, I see you, and I think you have something of value to share with other people. And as a man, I'm like, I do? Really? You think so? Because I got enough people that tell me how crappy I am at stuff.
Yeah. No,
how I fail.
We always get that, huh?
Right?
It's easy to get that.
I mean, how many haters does HOB get every week,
all the
right?
time.
All the time. All the time. And so, I even think male-to-male relationships are really significant Because even though we joke and we know that
Yeah.
guy culture is kind of put down culture and stuff like this, bro, when one of your friends who actually knows you and pays you a compliment, bro, that sticks with you for weeks.
And that's a big reason why I did want you on the show. The stuff that you say is eye-opening like crazy. And it's just not eye-opening to me. You see the hundreds of thousands of views you're getting on the clips.
It's crazy.
So it's eye-opening to a lot of people. And it's opening your eyes to things that it might have been like a speck there, but the way it was explained, and not even just explained, just being able to put it on the table and say, hey, look, this is here, to understand, like, oh wow, like I kind of knew that, but I've never been pushed to see it, right? And then it just opens up your mind even more. And I think that's the way it is. You need to do that stuff because nobody else is teaching this stuff.
Well,
who else is really teaching this?
I know a lot of guys who want to encourage men, but don't give us some practical steps. But the secret sauce to this is not just the information presented in a book. The secret sauce, like, how did all this happen? Our last show with Ambishun. That's right. 2 dudes sitting around a table talking. The one reason why I never wanted, like, Dad Academy was originally like a video class that guys would sit in a room, watch a video for 10 minutes, and then discuss. I didn't want it to be a book because, I mean, most guys, we get a book, we read it, oh, that's really good, and put it on the bookshelf, right? And what we hope to do with HOB, with Dad Academy, how Dad Academy desires to serve HOB, is we want to create a community for you guys with dads where they can have these kind of conversations. And while they may not have the education or experience for me to kind of unpack things the way that I feel, I mean, I think that's one of the things that God made me to do. He gave me an ability to see things and put concepts together. There are other things that I do crappy, like balancing my checkbook, ask my wife. But still, it doesn't need to be me facilitating a group. 5 guys that are courageous enough to sit around a table, read a chapter, and to start having a conversation about real life, like what you did. Yeah. Right? We weren't planning on Ambishun opening up his life like we did. But that's the magic of what happens because guys are so hungry for connection.
Yeah. And we usually use it in a negative way a lot of the times, I feel like, when you're all, act tough or whatever, or for drinking and things like that. And none of it's healthy. None of it's good for you. I recently just stopped drinking. It's been a few months now. And
I'm proud, bro, I'm not trying to be, sir, like, I'm not your dad. I'm not, as a fellow dude, I'm like, bro, I know how hard that is. I'm super proud of you.
And it's for good.
Because there's a lot of things that triggered that behavior.
Yeah.
That we didn't even realize. Like, I come home from work, like, how many times did 1 beer turn into like 3 beers?
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden, we can't understand why we're gaining weight. And it's because now all of a sudden we're down to 6-pack before bed because it's a way that we're trying to compensate for all of this other stuff.
Well, then you realize too, things ain't really what it seems. So it's like you just start taking different roads that, a better road that's just wasn't there for you. There's so many things that being a better parent. I mean, to me, that's like one of my biggest things is I want to be the best parent I can be to them, and not as where people can see me. I'm doing it for them.
Right.
What can I do for them, for my 2 kids, to make sure that I raise them right when it's time for them to leave, and they end up going on their own, that they're going to take all of these things with them.
I want to help you do that, right? As a coach, right? I'm not the player anymore. I tell my kids, I coach high school. I'm in basketball season right now, right? And I tell the kids all the time, like, I have, sorry, everybody on there. I know just because I played in the days where we wore Chuck Taylors and peach baskets. No, I mean, I played college basketball. My small college won you can only win a national championship at the division that you play, right? But I'm a national champion, small college basketball player. And so I know some things about how to execute and things that a 15-year-old or a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old doesn't.
Yeah.
And so when I'm coaching him and he kind of rolls his eyes at me, I'm like, you do realize like nobody's going to vote me assistant coach of the year for the league. I've stopped winning awards, right? I want you to be the best that you can be. So when I'm coaching you, I'm not telling you what to do to make me happy. I'm helping you so that you'll understand how to be the most successful of your player. And kind of in that same environment, like I would love, when we start building the community in January, in fact, wanted to let you know on January, let me pull up the date. They can find it on the dad.academy on our website, dad.academy. But in January, on the Wednesday the 14th, I'm going to do a live webinar. We're going to be on HOB before that.
Okay.
But I'm going to do a live webinar that just an hour long. People can log on. And we're going to just talk about like how to make a plan. Like every business owner is thinking about 2024. But you and I were talking about this already. You're hustling work right now because you know what's happening in 24. You've got some goals, some projections. I need to make sure we're meeting this, right? I'm calling clients. I'm calling suppliers. You are working your business plan. Many of us, when we get into January, we're like, okay, I got to figure out my gym. Maybe it's time to get a diet. One of the things that I did this year for the first time, your Uncle John's been like on me about taking some money, and I'm trying some new investments this year, and a new strategy with some new vehicles that I've not used before, and because I'm not very confident in them, I don't know this particular investment in financial world. John does. He's kind of showing me some things. I'm going to some other people that I trust who understand some of that. I'm learning. I'm growing, and that's what we're hoping to. But we don't think about being a dad in that same way. Where do I want to improve? What are my benchmarks this year? What are some events that are coming up that I can strategically use to make some connections, to demonstrate my kids' value? And so on the 14th of January, we'll do that webinar, and we'll kick some stuff off that's happening that the HOB community is welcome to be a part of. Again, you can register at dad.academy. We don't need a .com because academy is actually now a registered domain. So everything's just dad.academy. Instagram, dad.academy. Twitter,
I like the way that sounds anyways.
Twitter, dad.academy. YouTube, dad.academy. So we're going to do some things like that. Guys can sign up and register, and we'll have some more information for the Howls over Baaz community and guys that want to be involved. Because really what we want to do is we want to get guys around the table talking about their life. Because what we find out is we're not that different, man. Right? We all got stuff that we got to work through. And one of the best ways, God uses two things in our lives to do that. One, our trust and confidence in him. God wants to do a work in us, and he's going to show us where we need to change. But we also need other, if I'm speaking to an audience that's largely men tonight, I know that we have lots of great ladies that watch too, but like getting guys in a table to do what you did, to open up your life and to let people take a look, and for somebody to go, no, bro, I'm still with you. You're dope. Let's keep going. There's a lot of stuff that we have in common. Let's help each other. Now we're speaking life, right? Yeah. Now we're fertilizing the right stuff in each other, and we want to see that really begin to happen. And if you're a dad that needs that kind of encouragement and that kind of coach, if you don't think that you do, you're lying to yourself. If you don't think that you need other guys and you got this crap figured out for yourself, and I'll bro, that's a recipe for disaster.
I mean, you can use a blueprint on everything. Like you can't just go into business not having a plan And the most important thing is being a father to your children. So, you need to be a good dad. You have to raise them right, and I completely believe that's hardcore of things I've talked about since the beginning of this podcast.
Sure.
And I never thought about having a plan. You know, it's never came to my mind. So it's just things I was kind of doing. And then what ended up happening, I think, for me is that when I got a divorce, and I was kind of able to really put time into my kids without arguing or stress and all this other stuff of coming home and wanting to come home and being forced to take my kids to school every morning that I have them and things like that, because 50-50. I started like thinking, oh man, I got to take them to school. I got to work on time, thinking all this stuff. Now I make sure I enjoy all the moments I have with them. So when I'm taking them to school, I'm enjoying that time. I'm talking to them. When I go take them, and I honestly, one of the best things I do throughout my day is my son wrestles too for high school.
Ooh.
So when I go watch him wrestle for maybe 15, 20 minutes, I try to get there a little early so I can watch him train. And I go in there and I watch him, and honestly, isn't that crazy? That's like the highlight of my day.
No, it should be the highlight of our day, because that's the reward. See, the reward of being a dad is seeing your kids try stuff, and seeing your kids struggle, and seeing them succeed, and seeing them fail, and then not be afraid to try it again.
Yep.
Right? That's the reward. I'm getting to enjoy some of the reward of being a dad now with my adult kids. You know, they're 29, 27, and there's still nobody else that I would rather spend time with, because I love who they've become. And while I'm sure that there's some therapy that they still have to do from having me as their dad, no guy's perfect. Even the Bible says your earthly fathers did the best that they know how. Like, one of the things that I want to set you free from today is just your dad would tell you, like, I just didn't know any better. Yeah. Right?
We've had that conversation too. Yeah.
And for some of you who just, like, you got these dad issues and stuff like this, I'm not trying to excuse what happened to you, but I'm just going to tell you, like, he probably didn't know any better. You'd think that he would know better, but like you said, like, it's unusual for not to be beaten when you're bad.
Yeah.
We're doing our best, and I'll tell you what, if we do our best intentionally now that we know better, and we take advantage of it, how much more of an advantage is that going to be for our kids? And how does that even change our legacy? Yeah. Right? Because legacy is not how you want to be remembered. It's how you are remembered.
Yeah.
And what they will remember about you is the thing that defines your legacy. Yeah. And so, and one more thing real quick. We, even in chapter 2, we talk about your relationship. What do they say? Like, over 70% of families now are in co-parenting situations, blended families. We got to figure out what your relationship is with your kid's mom, even if she's not your wife.
Yeah.
And there are some responsibilities and a way that you have to relate to her that is still life-giving, no matter how uncomfortable the situations are. Like, I'm a big advocate for our court system, equal time for dads, right?
Yep.
We're starting to see those things turn a little bit. I'm connected with some people who legally help dads kind of pursue that, for sure.
Wow, that's great right there.
Yeah, there's some great stuff.
We need to have a whole topic on that, because that's really bad right now for a lot of parents.
It's really bad. But I will tell you what, well, that it is a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Because we do have women who think that, like, I don't need a dad. Like, every man in my life has failed. So now that I have my kids, I'm fulfilled. I don't need anybody else. And I'm going to raise them the way that I think that they should be. So, but one person can't do what two people were designed to do. So that is a whole nother conversation. But that is all of those things: family of origin, your relationship with your kid's mom, whether she is your wife or not. Those kind of things are in the first half of the book, so that we can process some of our own issues and have some clarity on that before we start thinking from an unhealthy perspective on how to be a good dad.
Yeah, we should start that in January, because that's actually a big topic. I think that's big. What is your relationship with your your ex, and how can you improve that, and through this.
Yeah, for the audience, like that's the kind of like you guys should be like mailing in, like emailing questions in and stuff like this. Like,
Yeah.
I know that they got Melanie gets a schedule out. I know that it's pretty flexible, but
We can even do a call-in show. I think
that would be
I think
sick.
if we do a call-in show, we should do it like at an 8:15 one another time, because that's when we get the most call-ins. That's when we get the most watchers.
Yeah.
And we'll do a call-in show, and that'd be dope, man.
Bro.
I do want to say this though. Me and my dad have a great relationship. He's
Yes.
trying. Right now he is working so hard on who he is. He's working hard on helping us be better people and parents and.
Hey,
And,
just
you
to
know.
show you how far he's come,
Yeah.
how far he's come. Like, so I pastor down in Orange County. One of my lifelong friend pastors in Redlands, and your dad is the men's ministry pastor at that church. He oversees all the ministry to men. And my friend is a crazy cyclist. I think I
Yeah.
told you, like he rode from Huntington Beach to Charleston, South Carolina, from ocean to ocean across the country. So it's not like he's a novice at this.
Yeah.
And he went head over handlebars 2 weeks ago and has like broken ribs, and there's been some other medical complications. And while we're praying for him, your dad, his pastor thinks enough of him as a man that he trusted the pulpit to him to share the scripture. That speaks a ton to me about who your dad is today.
Yeah.
And for any of the listeners who are there, might got to hear the first part of Jacob's story. The best part about our story with God, it's not finished yet.
Yeah.
It's not finished being written.
I mean, I made a lot of mistakes, and I know that God's working on me too. So we all have things we gotta work on,
So let's go to work.
Yeah.
Let's not just say like, oh, I got to work on this, right?
Mhm. Let's
And
get
for
to it,
3 months, I just really didn't feel like I could do what God's going to ask me to do in the next 10 years. I never thought that I would get sick of steak and eggs for breakfast, but this carnivore diet for the last 10 weeks is killing me.
Oh man.
But I'm doing this because there's a greater purpose. I want to be able to keep speaking life into that.
Yeah.
And God, I really just felt as part of my plan, God was saying, then you need to show some discipline and growth in this area of your life. You need to drop some weight. You need to get to a healthy place so that you can do what I'm asking you to do.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like when you have a love motivation, not a fear motivation, it changes your drive and your perspective and your motivation. And so to every dad, like who's got some dreams for 26, for your business, for your relationships, for your money, for your emotional and spiritual health, don't leave out having a plan for your family, because that's the most important thing that you get to do with your life. God loves you enough to have trusted people to your care and to your supervision. And just like Jacob and I were just saying, man, let's not just think about working on it. Let's get to work, because every minute matters.
Buzz on that one.
Let's
So we do have an 8:15. I want to let everybody know that we're going to be doing Dad Academy once a month for now. I actually do want to eventually, we talked before, I do want to be able to do it after a while. We want to have way more than just once a month. We want to do a lot more, and we're trying to build this to be a lot bigger. I think this is one of the biggest things we need in this world right now, and I'm all for this right now, and I love it. I think Jeff is great on this and the subject. I love the way he talks about this subject, and you're going to see a lot more of this from the HOB community.
Hey, I'm not trying to sell. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't pitch it. This thing is not a moneymaker for me, but man, Christmas. Buy yourself a Christmas gift. Go to Amazon, look up Dad Academy, Jeff Hamilton. It's cheaper than going to McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy this life-changing resource for cheaper than a value meal at McDonald's.
And we're going to put this up on our link too. Actually, we're going to get the link and we're going to put it on our Instagram and everything too.
Yeah.
You guys can go to the link and buy the book through Amazon. But yeah, you're going to see a lot more of this, and I would like to see more comments on this. Emails. Our email is in the Instagram, so it's shedthesheep@howlsoverbaz.com. You guys can ask questions, things you want us to discuss, topics for Dad Academy, whatever you guys, any questions you have, or any topics you want us to cover, throw them in the email, and we'll cover them.
Yeah, and the link to the Dad Academy newsletter comes out every Thursday. Super basic stuff. We'll have that information in the notes, show notes too.
Great, and I appreciate you guys watching. We're just gonna say shed the sheep on 3.
Love you, man. Thanks for this time.
Oh man,
yeah,
I love
go.
it. 1, 2, 3.
Shed the sheep, baby.
Howls over Baaz. I'm Jacob Casas.
Jeff Hamilton.
We appreciate you guys watching. And we're gonna do we'll have a little skit out, so a little commercial, so you can see a lot of the stuff we're going on for Dad Academy and where to find it and all that stuff. You'll see it on our Instagram soon. I appreciate you guys watching.
Yeah, thank you.
We have another episode coming up, and we'll see you soon. Peace.